Hey everybody, it's the Salty Pug Lord. How y'all been doing? Well, I'm recording this on the 27th, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I'm probably going to be up in the mountains in Colorado visiting my family, so I won't be able to make a video for you tomorrow, I don't think. But what I'm going to do is make this video now and then upload it to YouTube and just schedule it to be put up for tomorrow, so you guys will have some kind of content for tomorrow. I was trying to figure out that problem where I couldn't assign weapon group 3 to my mouse click, as I have in my small stuff here, that I really need to be able to assign middle mouse click to fire weapon group 3. And I saw something on the members only Discord about some kind of an ini file or config file, so I went looking for that and I found it, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later, but there's something a little bit more interesting that I found along the way that I wanted to show you guys. For me, this is in C program files, Epic Games, Mechwarrior 5 beta, MW5 Mercs content movies. And I don't know if PGI meant to put this stuff in here, but they did. So this to me is a lot of storyline stuff that tells you about the storyline and sort of the process of building your Merc unit. And maybe this stuff was put in here on purpose because they wanted it to leak, or maybe they were incompetent and didn't want it to leak. I don't know. All I know is it's too good a find to skip, and I wanted to show it to you guys. So this is a bunch of like little movies, and I just want to show you the intro movie, the Chloe's Cavaliers intro.
In 2108, humanity began colonizing the stars. Their reach would eventually span a vast region of space known as the Inner Sphere. During its golden age, under the governance of the Star League, the Inner Sphere experienced unprecedented peace, prosperity, and technological advancement. But with a great rise comes a great fall. Beset by greed and mistrust, humanity splintered. The Star League crumbled. Technological advancement slowed. The great houses, each vying for supremacy, turned on one another, engaging in a series of conflicts known as the Succession Wars. Amidst this chaos, mercenaries became the proxy forces for the great houses. Numerous battlefields sprung up across the Inner Sphere, dominated by hulking war machines known as battle mechs. The year is now 3015, and these steel behemoths have become the tools of the mercenaries' trade. It's a lucrative time, yet one beset with perils of all kinds. Only the most skilled and brave among them will rise to become legend.
Cool, no? Now, the rest of these aren't nearly as much fun. In fact, most of them don't have sound, but they do maybe reveal little bits about the gameplay. So I'm just going to go and maybe play a couple of these, do some little commentary. The first one is Abort Mission 02, and I'll tell you why I think this is interesting after we play it. So what's interesting to me about this is this bit right here. After you abort a mission, you go back to this little piloting screen that looks like you're inside the dropship. So I think there's going to be some shots like this in the game where, a lot like Harebrained Schemes Battletech, you know, you're going to have a little area where you can be inside the dropship looking at all your different people that are in your mercenary group and looking at your contracts and other stuff like that. Also, there's a lot of interesting stuff up here on the top. Again, all this is very HBS Battletech-y, if you ask me, and that's why I'm a little bit thinking that perhaps this was intentionally put here, either as hype or as a fake fish, just to, you know, build some expectation that isn't true. Anyway, interesting little screenshot there. The next one I want to show you is hiring pilots. So I can find it. Pilots, H. Hiring pilots 03. So again, you can see that this is all very HBS Battletech-y, and you've got weapon skills, like different skills with different weapons, different piloting skills, cost to hire. Yeah, so, you know, just interesting little glimpses behind the scenes. This is interesting too. Looks like you're not tied to a single faction. You can go and work contracts for anyone, which makes sense. You know, you're supposed to be this Chloe's Cavalier mercenary group, right? So, cool. Let's take a look at Mech Lab Weapons Group 04. Now, we've seen this already, so that's not very interesting. But this is actually kind of interesting stuff. We see some C-bill balances, you know, management stuff. Again, this is all very HBS Battletech-y. I'm sorry, I know I keep saying that. Cool. How about repair individual? So this is kind of cool to me because we've seen this mech lab in the demo, but we haven't really seen armor damage, which I assume is what this red stuff is. We haven't seen components being damaged. I assume that this sort of red X on these medium lasers means that this stuff has been destroyed and you can't repair it, you have to replace it. Likewise, this single heatsink has been damaged, but it's not destroyed, you can repair it. And I think if we go back to the beginning of here, there was a little repair icon, and the cursor comes down here and clicks that to repair the structure. Yep. So, again, interesting little peeks into what the final game might be like, and yeah. Okay. What else did I flag down? Codex Travel 02. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but that was Bettendorf. And I actually was really curious to know where Bettendorf was, if it was like a real canon planet. So I actually went to Sarna, and here's Bettendorf. Bettendorf is in the Dracanis Combine near the New Samarkand military district. I thought New Samarkand was how you pronounce that. I wanted to be sure. So, you know, interesting little details, right? What about using neg points? This is actually interesting for those of you who played the original Mechwarrior. Using neg points 02. So, I have to rewind a little bit. So you can see here that just like in the original Mechwarrior, and I assume in many Mechwarriors since Mechwarrior 1, and again, also like Harebane Schemes Battletech, you can negotiate on salvage, you can negotiate on payout, and it looks like you get a certain number of points, negotiation points, to use here so that you can't get everything. So, again, interesting little things that might or might not be present in the real full game. Hard to know at this point. Again, this could all be just fake stuff put here for the benefit of people like me who want to make videos about Mechwarrior 5. And finally, we'll look at MechLab Management 02. So again, this just looks like a little tutorial video, just showing you how to put things in cold storage. I know I've said this 10,000 times before. Again, this all looks very HBS Battletech-y, which I'm not complaining about. HBS Battletech looked like a lot of fun. I never played it. It wasn't my style of game. But certainly, if this stuff is going to end up in the final Mechwarrior 5, PGI has stolen well are chosen well what they steal from a good game. So I am all for it if that is indeed the case. And wanted to show you a couple other little things that were sitting around that I found. For me, this was in my user app data folder, saved loadouts. Let's go back here. So here's mechloadouts.json, and if you actually do Notepad or any text editor on this, you can see that this is actually the text file that it saved all of your changes that you made and then hit save in the mech lab. This is my catapult 1 that I changed, which gives extra armor and another half ton of ammo, as well as probably throwing away the jump jets is what I'm guessing. So all sorts of interesting little stuff here. Maybe modders will be able to figure this stuff out later and give you shortcuts in the mech lab to do different things. Interesting little stuff if you're a programmer. Not surprising to find that there, in my opinion. And the last thing I want to show you guys is some config files. And this, I have to admit, I didn't find this on my own. I think someone on the private Discord, the MW5 community pre-order Discord, was talking about going into the config file and changing things. And I was like, oh, of course there's a config file hanging around out there. I mean, duh, how could there not be? Oops. Windows reflex is getting the better of me. Most of these are only 2 bytes long, meaning that they're empty. But there are a couple, engine.ini and gameusersettings.ini. I don't think most people who even watch a video like this would be interested in what's engine.ini. If you are, by all means, you know how to find this and go and look at it yourself. One thing that is kind of interesting is the gameusersettings.ini. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. So a bunch of stuff in here that probably you would suspect would be in here. This is some video settings, you know, field of view, joystick sensitivity, mouse sensitivity X. I actually changed this in game just to see if it would change here, and it did. So I'm going to put this back to 1.0. Okay. But the most interesting thing that I found in here was you have your input key mappings all spelled out in text here, which is pretty interesting. And because I had that problem where I wanted to be able to fire weapon group 3 with my mouse scroll wheel click, as I said in my little stuff up here in my feedback, I actually went in here and I actually looked for group 3 to try and find where that key mapping was stored, thinking maybe I could manually edit it and get it to work that way, even though I couldn't get it to work in-game. So what you see here is that for fire weapon group 3, the bound keys are keyboard 3 and the middle mouse button. So it looks like what's happening is that when you click the middle mouse button and set the key, it's recording that to the config file, it's just not showing it on screen. And indeed, when I loaded up the game a couple minutes ago and used my middle mouse button, it did fire weapon group 3. And when I went back into the config after reloading the game, it even showed middle mouse button in the key config, in the control config. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, if you are interested in this kind of stuff, you know where to find this stuff. It's in app data. You want to do cd %app data. And then, oh, sorry. And then go into, well, you have to go into local, MW5 Mercs, come on, saved, config, and Windows no editor. Oh, I can't remember under DOS. I use Unix a lot more than DOS, so I don't remember under DOS how do you show the current working directory. Anyway, that %app data thing, %app data %, and then go back out of roaming and into local MW5 Merc saved config Windows no editor. And here are your config files, including the game user settings. So that's about it. I hope that you guys are having a good Thanksgiving. I hope you're getting a chance to visit your families. It's a little bit challenging for me here in Colorado because on Tuesday we got a huge storm that dumped about 1.5 feet of snow. and getting up into the mountains to visit my family may be a little bit dicey. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys can maybe glean some more interesting stuff from these movies, which you should have if you have the community pre-order. See Program Files, Epic Games, Mechwarrior 5 Beta, MW5 Mercs Content Movies. And I hope that you are staying salty, my friends.